Okay, so this beautiful rifle is my new 300 Winchester Magnum. It is a Savage 110 Precision. Now today I want to take the first shots through the gun, get it broken in a little bit, and see how it's going to shoot. Now a quick list of the, the features pretty much straight off the Savage website. It has a factory blueprinted action. It has a matte black carbon steel heavy barrel, threaded 5/8 24. It is 24 inches long and has a 1 in 9.3 twist, and it's 5R rifling. Now it comes in an MDT LSS-XL chassis. So it's got the adjustable length of pull and the adjustable comb height, and you can use the AR grips, and it uses AICS magazines. The gun comes with a muzzle brake. It does come with a 5-round AICS magazine. It has a 20 MOA one-piece rail, and it's got the AccuTrigger in it, which is adjustable from 1.5 up to 4 pounds. Now the specific things that jump out to me that I really like, first of all, is the blueprinted action. I think this would be considered like the Savage target action. And any of you Savage guys who can confirm or clear up some of the questions I've got, please do so in the comments, because this is my first Savage. I don't really know jack squat about Savages, so I'm more than happy to be corrected. But I think this would be considered the Savage, target action, which means it is a large shank. Looking at the pictures online, the large shank and small shank actions have a different length barrel nut. And this is definitely the shorter barrel nut, which from everything I can tell means it's the large shank. So this is exactly the action configuration I was looking for as I was exploring the Savage options and trying to decide what to buy. The next big thing I'm really happy about is the magazine. And if we look at the bottom, it says Savage, but there at the end, you'll see that it says 3.850. And that was really confusing as I was trying to decide what way to go. Is there are multiple length magazines for the long action and Magnum setups. Now this 3.850, sometimes called the CIP, or you'll see it called CIP length, or do people call that SIP? I don't know, whatever. But CIP is kind of like the EU equivalent of SAMI here in the United States, right? It's an organization over in Europe that deals with the same sort of crap that SAMI deals with over here. Now, what's good about the 3.850 length is it's got about 3.750 to 3.760 of available magazine space, for overall length. So we'll have no trouble loading rounds really long and feeding them off the magazine, hopefully. So extremely happy about that. This is an MDT magazine, as far as I can tell. These things aren't cheap. They're about 90 bucks. Now you might be wondering, why would I buy another 300 Winchester Magnum when I already have this guy? This is our Thompson Center Compass. This gun has been a little bit frustrating. We've shot some very good groups with it, but we've struggled to get consistently good performance. And everything really seemed to fall apart whenever I switched out the factory stock for this Boyd's Pro Varmint. Accuracy went to garbage, so I went about glass bedding the stock and putting pillars in it, and that improved things a lot, but it's still a little bit inconsistent. And that all kind of came to a head in my last video, where we were trying to start cloning this factory ammo. This is Mark 248 Mod 1, a military round that uses the 220 grain Sierra Match King, and it just wasn't shooting them well at all, or our attempts at, cloning that ammo. So I just decided it was time to invest in what I'm hoping is going to be a more consistent, better shooting gun. Now, the biggest reason I went with Savage is because they already come with the barrel nut. It's pretty darn easy to change out a barrel. You buy a barrel, you buy some go, no-go gauges, and you go from there. And this Savage 110 setup, really, it got me where I wanted to be for the least amount of money. Now, this is not a cheap gun. I bought it at Bud's Gun Shop. That's really the only place I could find it in stock. It was $1,182, which from what I can tell is a pretty good price. I think MSRP's 13 something. With taxes, shipping, FFL fees, all of that stuff, it was about a little over $1,250. Now, I seriously considered kind of building this from scratch, or a similar setup from scratch, but as I was doing the math, it was going to be just as expensive. This chassis from MDT is 500 bucks. A Savage Action from like Northland Shooter Supply is 550 to 600 bucks, somewhere in that range. You throw in a $90 magazine, and I've already spent as much on those parts, and I haven't even bought a barrel yet. So that's the way I'm viewing this. If this factory barrel won't shoot, if it's garbage, then fine, we'll frickin' pull it out of there and put something better in. But from what people are telling me, I'm expecting good performance from this factory barrel. Let's see, anything else? I think that's pretty much it. And I'll tell you what, just to compare for you, here is the Thompson Center magazine next to our 3.850 CIP magazine. You can see how long it is. And the Thompson Center magazine is already a pretty generous length. So lots of room for fun activities in this magazine setup. Very happy about that. And you got to watch yourself on those magazines. It's kind of confusing. Like when I was looking into buying the parts separately, I was looking at the Oryx chassis, which is also made by MDT, but it's Oryx branded, which is what I've got on my 6.5 Creedmoor Thompson Center compass. Well, the Oryx for the long action Savage uses the 3.715 inch AICS magazine. So just make sure you understand that confusing world of AICS magazines before you go ordering any of them. Now, I haven't purchased a scope base yet. I wanted to kind of get the gun in my hands and see what sort of height I needed, or, you know, just kind of wanted to put a little bit more time in searching for my permanent scope base setup for this gun. But I think for today, for the first shots, I'm going to throw this odd mount base on there. It's going to look a little bit goofy. It's a cantilever base that's you know, designed for ARs, but it's a big meaty base. Should get the job done until we decide what to go with permanently. So that's it. I'm going to get a scope mounted on this guy really quick, and we'll see how it shoots. Okay, so I got my scope mounted. This is my 624 power Vortex Viper PST Gen 1, but I ran into a little bit of a problem, right? So the factory rail is a 20 MOA rail. This base is a 20 MOA base. So with that 40 MOA, I have to move my elevation adjustment all the way as far as it'll go, and I'm still not sure I can get it totally zeroed. I think I'm gonna roll with this. We'll go ahead and try it out, because I think it's pretty darn close, and we can compensate a little bit with the shot marker electronic target system. So I either need to switch to one of my other scopes that has a little bit more vertical adjustment, or just be sure that whatever base I buy is a zero, so we're not stacking all of that built-in cant. And the other thing is this scope base is pretty high, and you can see that my cheek riser comb adjustment thingy here is jacked up in the sky pretty high. And this is exactly why I didn't, like, I would prefer to be a little bit lower. I'd prefer a little bit less height there. So whenever I go shopping for my permanent scope base, at least I'm gonna have this to kind of go off of for measurements and whatnot. Now, the fact that this is not quick adjustable, like it doesn't have a clicker thingy or anything, like you've got to pull out an Allen wrench. There's 2 set screws on the right-hand side that allow this to go up and down. Well, to get a cleaning rod in there, I have to drop it all the way. So that's slightly annoying, but we'll get by. Now, this rifle did come with 4 spacers to increase the length of pullback here. I actually found, like, I'm a pretty big dude with big long arms. I'm 6'2" and have pretty long arms and a big fat head. So I know with my Oryx chassis, I just stacked them all in there and was fine with it. This one I could actually probably do with removing a couple, because my scope's, you know, way back, and I still really need to kind of get up on the gun to get the right eye relief, but that actually might be good. I don't know. I'm going to try it this way first before I remove any spacers. If it's not comfortable, then it's good to have that adjustability. So that's it. We are ready to shoot. Let me get set up. So I grabbed all of the factory ammo that I've got on hand, and it's a pretty good variety, all the way from 165 grain PPU up to the Mark II 48 Mod 1. So we've got lots of different stuff to test with. I've also got some hand loads that'll fit in this gun with the 220 grain Sierra Match King. So we've got no shortage of ammo. Let me get set up and we'll start shooting. Okay, so it's time to get started. Our target is at 100 yards. I'm using the shot marker electronic target system, and you'll see right now I'm zoomed way out. We'll just shoot at the center of the paper and try and figure out where we're at, and then yeah, see if we've got enough scope adjustment to get sighted in properly. So I am live streaming on Twitch, and I'll let them pick the first ammo we should shoot, and they want me to shoot the cheap stuff. So we're going to use the PPU for the basic sight in just to see if it hits the target. This is a 165 grain bullet. What's worrying me though is, like, it's been a couple years since I shot any of this, and a couple of them are missing primers, and I don't know why. And I'm trying to think back whether this stuff was exceptionally hot and was blowing primers, or I don't know. we'll just see how it goes. So we'll start off with 3 rounds in the magazine. Anything else I need to tell you? Got our velocity coming in with the lab radar chronograph. That's pretty much it. Yeah, speaking of chronographs, I need to arm it. So this gun is still, it's straight out of the box. I haven't verified that the muzzle brake's tight. I haven't verified that the action screws are tight. I haven't done anything. I wanted to see how it shot straight out of the box. If we're seeing terrible performance, that might be the first step, is to kind of check things out. I also have not adjusted the trigger. These are a, was it 1.5 to 4 pound trigger? I have to assume they come out of the box at 4 pounds. It feels pretty darn good. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. So first up, PPU. Did that load? I think it loaded. Yep, that loaded okay. I'm just going to aim for the center of the target. We'll see if we're on paper. Okay, so the lab radar says that was 6,942 feet per second. I'm thinking that's a bit of a problem. And looks like we hit way high. Yep, we have no more room to move down. But we do have room to move left. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's 6 or 7 MOA to the right. So let's go ahead and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. And let me try the next shot. Let's see what that piece of brass looks like. Looks pretty normal. Okay, let's go ahead and shoot another one. Okay, that time lab radar says 3,033 feet per second. That seems a lot more reasonable. And shot marker picked it up. Okay, so what we can do with shot marker is go into here and move things around a little bit. So I can call that a dead center shot, which you guys can't even see this. Hold on one sec. There it is. Now you can see what I'm looking at. So this is the target calibration setup. So that bullet hole, that second bullet hole, I can just move it wherever I want. I was actually aiming right there at this dot. So we should be pretty good, I think. All right, let's hide this first shot and we'll see if we can shoot a group. There we go. Well, let's shoot the third one that's in the magazine. Oop, what just happened there? It went in, but kind of got jammed up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Why is my shot marker not updating? It's only updating the screen whenever I've got it in, focus. Whatever. So we'll shoot 6 more shots, or I'm sorry, we'll shoot 3 more shots of this PPU. We'll make it a 5-shot group. And then see if we need to make any scope adjustments. Tell you what, the action on this, it is not the smoothest action I've ever felt. It's certainly not like my Tika, which is just like insanely smooth. It's got a little bit of grit to it. I don't know if that's, whatever. Maybe it'll work itself in. Maybe that's just part of being a tightly put together action with tight tolerances. I don't know. All right, 3 more shots here. (3,004 feet per second). Okay, that didn't really want to come out. Man, I cannot get this rear bag to settle down and stabilize. I keep having to chase it with my front rest. Pretty gross looking. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with this stuff. I'm actually getting a shiny spot right at the belt. Let me check that previous piece as well. Yep, it's doing the same exact deal. So that's where it seems to be kind of getting hung up a little. Okay. Yeah, that's not very good. All 5 of those shots, 2.11 inches. That's hide number 4 out of embarrassment. There we go. Those 4 went into 1.5 inches. Whatever. I'm not going to worry too much about it with freaking PPU. Okay, enough of that stuff. I'll tell you what I want to do now is go ahead and run a few patches through the gun. I'm not going to get overboard with the cleaning. But yeah, just want to go ahead and just run a few patches. So recoil feels great with the brake. It's definitely less recoil than my Compass with the suppressor. So heavier gun, plus, you know, a brake is going to give a little bit better recoil management than a suppressor. So it feels pretty good. Now, hopefully my gun's not mad at me that I fed it PPU ammo for its very first shots. Okay, that is a 3-round magazine. No, it's not. It just kind of hung up on me a little bit. 3 of them went in and it just didn't want to go any further. Okay, there it is with 5 rounds in there. Yeah, next up, this is the Hornady Match 195 grain boat tail hollow point. So let's see what these do. Yeah, kinda not exactly feeding the smoothest I've ever felt. Let's see what happens. Holy crap, I forgot to put in one of my earplugs. Luckily I had the left one in. Good grief, that was painful. Yeah, that was a little bit higher, and I was worried I might have hit the target frame, but I didn't. This is the same way. Am I missing something? Like that bolt is all the way up. Well, come on. You got to be kidding me. There it went. This has got that exact same scuff mark right above the belt. Huh. See what our first shot velocity was on that one. 29.46. All right, let's go ahead and shoot another one here. Good grief. I'm not liking this, folks. Chamber 1 and eject without firing. Have I lubed the bolt lugs? I did just throw a little bit of lube on the bolt lugs. I'll tell you what, let me... Chamber 1. Yeah, that goes in and comes right out. I do see a little scuff on the side. Let me run the other one through. They are getting a bit of a scuff. That one not so much. Tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and pull the bolt out. I don't have anything serious to lube the lugs with, but I mean, like, it's clearly wet. Like I oiled it really well, but I didn't like grease it up like crazy. I'll spray it with some Ballistol here. All right, so now it is extremely wet. Yeah, I'll bore scope it after I get off of here. That's what we'll do is, I don't have a whole lot of time before dark anyway. So between now and tomorrow, have a look at it on the bore scope and add that to the YouTube video and all that sort of garbage. All right, let's see. Let me see what the hell's going on there. I can't tell if it's, it's one of those where it feeds and then just kind of gets kind of jammed in there. Might be because these SAMI rounds are so super short and this magazine is so super long, maybe. It's just not quite hitting the feed ramp the way you'd like. I don't know. Main part to lube is the lugs, including where they split. All right, I just absolutely soaked that area. So we'll see if this helps. Dude, my right ear is still ringing. I cannot freaking believe I did that. Tell you what, that freaking trigger is nice. All right, so far those 3 are going into 0.95 inches. Not the worst thing ever. Now let's see if... Nope. Yeah, so there's one spot right about there that every piece has got, clearly got a shiny spot, and then another piece right there at the belt. Right above the belt. Same way with that one. We keep pressure on it. Actually, it's riding high, so like it missed the bolt face and it's sitting on top of the bolt. And then you let off pressure and it drops down. I don't know if you could see that or not. Yep, they're all the same way, it seems. Okay, so those 5 shots went into right at an inch, 1.07 inches. Yeah, number 2 was our bad shot there. Let's hide it. Yeah, those other 4 went into 0.68 inches. So that's not the worst thing. Average velocity was 29.56, 14.8 standard deviation, extreme spread of 34. Kind of your average crappy factory ammo numbers. I'll tell you what I want to shoot. Somebody was asking about the gold medal match. I've got something that I believe in a little bit more, is some of my cider hand loads. This is brand new Jag brass. First of all, let me just see if they'll helps to have a magazine in there if you're going to try and single feed one. Yeah, that went in. It's a yeah, went in no problem. I don't see any spots where it looks like we jammed into the rifling or anything like that. So let's shoot a couple of these. All right, so I've been talking it over with the people on Twitch. It just like, we got to get a bore scope in this thing and see what's going on. There's clearly a burr in this chamber or something weird going on. So it's okay because I'm almost out of daylight anyway. We'll go bore scope it tonight, see what we can figure out, and then get back on the range tomorrow. What I want to shoot next is my some of my hand loads. These are the 220 grain Sierra Match Kings. Yeah, with 73 grains of H1000 and a 3.470 inch overall length. So these are a good bit longer than Sammy overall length. Fills these big magazines a little bit better. But we'll see if they group and see if they are going to get stuck in the chamber the same way the factory ammo is. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. See if they feed. Like that one fed okay. All right, chronograph's armed. Let's see what'll happen. All right, moment of truth. Okay. That one came out. No problem. And it does not have that mark right above the belt. What the hell is going on here? I'm so confused. Let's see what the velocity was on that first shot. 27.55. Okay, let's see if this next one feeds without getting... No problem. No problem at all. All right, that's more like it. Ejected, no problem. Next one fed, no problem. Well, that opened it up a little bit. There we go, and I got that one to jam. Then you let off it just a little bit, and it pops down. Goes right in. So these are ejecting fine. Frickin' battery. Crap. Okay, little battery problem, but that's all right. Okay. And that one ejected, no problem. Okay, so our average velocity there, 27.49. Standard deviation, 16.5 gross. Extreme spread, 37. And the group was 0.97 inches. Still not much to celebrate. I don't know what to think about the fact that those were able to eject, no problem whatsoever. I got no marks around the belt. You know, these are not quite as hot as the factory ammo, but I mean, they're not complete cupcakes either. I mean, 2,750 feet per second with a 220 grain Sierra Match King isn't that bad. So I think what we'll do is go back to the bench. We'll grab the bore scope and look around in here and see what we can see. I also want to, well, I want to think over our scope situation. I might look through my scopes, see if there's one that has a little bit more vertical range. Strap that on there instead, or maybe I'll switch to a different mount that doesn't have that 20 MOA. Yeah, kind of just need to think it through. Tear apart the gun, make sure all the action screws and everything are tight, make sure everything's tight. Like the factory rail, I did not double check those screws. Like I said, this was straight out of the box, let's hit the range. And extremely disappointed so far, like overall. Factory ammo getting stuck in the chamber. It's not feeding particularly well. The, you know, stuff's getting jammed up in there sometimes. So a little bit disappointed. So let's get back to the bench and look at that stuff. I'll film the bore scope portion at the very least and show you guys what I see. So I'm starting to think that this all just comes down to a series of stupid decisions on my part. I feel like the world's biggest freaking dumbass right now. I don't know why I didn't stop what I was doing when I put this mount on the gun and realized that it was way too high, which meant my cheek riser was way too high and we were out of adjustment and couldn't zero the scope. I should have just stopped everything. Just setting myself up for failure. So here's what I've done. I worked on it some last night without the camera turned on. First thing, I checked all of the screws to see if anything was loose. I didn't find anything that was loose. The action screws were nice and tight. All of the, you know, the screws in the mount we were using, the base we were using were tight. And the rail on the gun, as far as I can tell, was all tight. I really expected to find something loose because our buddy Mopar Madman from the Bolt Action Reloading YouTube channel showed up in the Twitch comments section yesterday while I was on the range and reminded me of all of the problems he had with his Savage. He has the 110 BA Stealth in 338 Lapua Magnum, and he had lots of issues with everything coming loose. He ended up getting some different screws, some longer screws and stuff, and really needing to Loctite everything down really hard to get his gun to shoot. So I was kind of expecting to find some loose stuff. Didn't really run into it, but it's still something I need to keep in mind. And we'll look at the reason why here in just a second on the bore scope. So as you can see, I've now got a different set of rings on the gun. These are the rings I was using on my old 300 Winchester Magnum. Not nearly as beefy as the last mounts we were using, but at least this one, we get rid of that 20 MOA, so we're going to be able to properly zero our scope. And I've been shooting these rings on a 300 Winchester Magnum for quite some time. I've never had any issues with them coming loose or feeling like they were moving or causing issues. I think eventually for this gun, I'll go, you know, I'll get something beefier, but for continuing the testing in this video, I think this is going to do just fine. I also put a different scope on there, just in case. Like, let's just get completely away from this setup, just in case something's going on there. This is a Vortex Viper HS. It's a brand new Vortex Viper HS 6-24 power by 50 scope. And you'll see with these are actually, these are Weaver low rings. And you can see it's quite low. Probably get a better look at it outside, maybe in the sunlight, but we're down there a little bit closer to where I want to be. And once we get out on the range and I'm able to adjust my cheek riser to, you know, the perfect position, it's going to be in a whole lot better spot than it was during yesterday's range trip. The other thing I did is I did remove the muzzle brake. It was on there pretty good, needed to get this guy in a vise and put some oomph behind it, but it ended up coming off. The problem I ran into is the crush washer they had under the muzzle brake would not come off. Now, the whole point of a crush washer is that it flattens out whenever you crush it, and whenever it did that, it just got so small it wouldn't come off the threads anymore. So I ended up having to carefully eat away one side of it with a Dremel. I'm sure there are probably easier and safer ways to do this, but this is the way I went with. Just kind of did that until I got it to where I could crack it. There you go, there's the little crack. And then I was able to manipulate it off of there. Now the bad news though is that I can't put this guy back on. Where'd our brake go? What did I do with it? There it is. So I'm gonna have to go through my stuff and see if I can find another washer of some sort. Like I tried just putting it on the barrel naked and putting it all the way down, and of course it's timed almost completely 90 degrees out. So I've got to kind of go through my washers and see if I can find something that times it pretty close so we can put it back on there for further testing. But worst case, we'll just use my suppressor. But I know a lot of you guys would probably like to see, once I get the gun shooting, does it shoot okay with the, the standard muzzle brake? Now the other thing, the guy who sent me the Mark 248 Mod 1 ammo, Jim, he also sent several more boxes, including the 195 grain Hornady that we just had so much problems with extraction. And if I had gone back and read the information he sent me, when he sent the ammo, he had problems with this ammo popping primers in his gun. So this is extremely hot ammo. So I'm not surprised I was having some problems with extraction. And I'm starting to wonder if the PPU stuff is just the same way. I think I've already mentioned, I've had some problems with some PPU in the past. In 6.5 Creedmoor that was really, really hot. Maybe this stuff's the same way. I mean, the velocities we were seeing weren't exactly insane for 165 grain bullets, like right about 3,000 feet per second. So the velocity doesn't really point towards this being crazy hot ammo, but that doesn't always tell the whole story, right? It might have very fast burning powder that is causing high pressures without necessarily giving us the high velocities. I don't know. But I think regardless of what we see with the bore scope in the chamber, I'm probably not going to be doing anything drastic, like, trying to polish the chamber or any of that stuff. So speaking of that, let's get over to the bore scope and see what we can see. This is the Lyman bore scope. The screen glare is really bad. So we'll try and do this in the dark. So what I want to look at first, this is the back bolt hole for the rail. Look at all of that unused thread. So this is what Mopar Madman found in his BA Stealth, was all of the screws were too short. So I could definitely switch to a longer screw and get a much more secure connection there with that fastener. So I think he ended up ordering some on Brownells, so that's what I'm going to try and do, is find the right screws and order some that are a little bit longer. Let's try and move forward to the second one. Should be right there. Yep, there's the second one. So there's two in the back and two in the front. These are the two in the back, and they both have plenty of room for a longer fastener. So let me move forward. Okay, now there's two screws on the front, and this is the one toward the rear of the gun. And you can see that looks like a properly sized screw. If I can get close to it. There it is. Yep. So that one's fine. And the very front screw that's, paired up with this one comes down like where the barrel threading is. So there's no way to scope the bottom of it. So the front two screws on this gun seem fine. I'm going to see if I can get some longer ones for the back, just to make sure that rail doesn't go anywhere. So now the important part, let's go ahead and move forward to our chamber. Okay, so right here at the beginning of the chamber, this little shelf right here that you see in the middle of the screen, that is the part where our belt goes. So that's where the belt hangs out. So right in front of the belt, right about in here, is where I want to explore and see if I can find any burrs or anything weird going on there. Because this is the area where I was definitely seeing some shiny spots on the brass that was getting stuck. Haven't really found a whole lot. Like there's a weird little lumpy spot. Don't know if that's... Yeah, not sure. Let me see if I can tell where that's at. Yeah, that's right around the 3 o'clock position. If the top of the bore is 12, that's right about 3 o'clock. Definitely tooling marks, and that's completely normal. Let's see if I can find it here, but there was like one particularly big groove, so that's where our belt sits, and then we move forward just a little bit. Kind of this area, there did seem to be one of the tooling grooves there that maybe stands out a little bit more than the others. So now I'm just going to kind of search around a little bit see what else is going on. Like here's the beginning of the rifling. Yeah, it doesn't look like the colors and stuff are coming across. Like I need to get a different bore scope that's a little bit better for recording footage. There's quite a few cheaper options out there now that seem to be doing a decent job. But this is what we're stuck with for right now. There's a big hunk of something. What in the heck is that? That was about halfway up at 6 o'clock. Huh, I just shoved a bore mop up in there and kind of spun it around a little bit to see if I could break that loose. Huh. Okay, so I think I've gotten rid of that blob that was on the side of the chamber. I've been looking around for it and can't find it anymore. So I think I got it. I don't know what it was or if it was anything significant, but I mean, all I did was take just a pistol cleaning rod with a standard bore brush and just kind of went around the chamber doing a little bit of scrubbing, and it's gone. But to my totally untrained eye, I don't see anything that's worrying me. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the gun really well, clean our bore and all of that stuff before we get back on the range today, and maybe give a little bit more attention to this chamber just with a brush, nothing crazy. And for the time being, I'm just going to assume that we ran into some really hot factory ammo, and those were, that difficult extraction was just a legitimate pressure sign. So that's it. Let's get back to the range. Okay, folks, we're back at the range. I've got my scope basically kind of bore sighted, just looking down the bore and, clicking on it until it looks close. So hopefully we're in the ballpark. I guess I went through all the information the last time we were on the range. We're at 100 yards. We're using the shot marker system. The little dots on the shot marker represent 1 inch, that sort of garbage. But before we get there, we got to get zeroed, and hopefully all of our little fixes and our new scope and everything is going to make this a whole lot better range trip. So I'm going to start out. I've got 25 of my hand loads loaded up, same ones like we shot yesterday that did not give us any extraction issues. So we're going to shoot these, get everything straightened out, and then we'll move on to some of that factory ammo. So I'll go ahead and put 3 rounds in the magazine. I guess I could fire up the chronograph just for the heck of it, not that it really matters. I've put some time in here to make sure that everything is right. So I ended up removing the spacers for the length of pull measurement. So I've got this guy shortened up a little bit. It's a little bit easier to get proper eye relief on the scope now. I've got, I went through my rear bags and found the one that fits this buttstock the best for me. So we're going to run that. So hopefully I've done everything today that I should have done yesterday to get us set up for success. I do have my Silencer Co. Omega suppressor on there now, and we'll run that guy here for a while, see what happens. So let's get on paper. I guess I should zoom out the shot marker. Yep, there's the ballpark. Let's see if we're in the ballpark. Okay. Little bit more recoil than we had yesterday. The suppressor is not quite as effective as the brake. So I was aimed right in the middle. Let me see. This is kind of a weird situation. So I can basically zero the shot marker to wherever I want, but I don't want to do that. I want to start out by zeroing the gun to actual impacts on paper, and then we'll move shot marker to match. So I can't, unfortunately the target I'm shooting has got quite a few bullet holes in it already. So I'm going to shoot again. You see that little hitch I got there with the feeding? I think that's just going to be a thing. Yeah, that's something else to deal with. All right, I'm going to try and shoot at the bottom left dot, and we'll see where it shows up. All right, I got it. I see the hole, and it's pretty darn close to where shot marker's indicating. I think that's about 3 MOA left. Let's go 2 MOA down. Pretty close. Shoot another one. Tell you what, it looks like shot marker is absolutely right on the money as far as where it's hitting. So maybe 1 1/4 MOA left, and then up about half a minute. Okay, we're almost there. Couple more. Shot marker didn't pick it up. It's actually saying, let me bring this to the front. It's actually saying measured impact off target. What in the heck did I do? All right, try it again. That was weird. That was really weird. I wonder if my freaking suppressor is coming loose or something. That sounded weird. Did that sound weird through the microphone? The suppressor's still totally tight. What in the heck is going on? Can see down the bore, like there's nothing crazy going on there that I can tell. I don't see any baffle strikes on my suppressor. Oh my God. All right, I'm not gonna panic. I'm not going to panic. Let me double check. Well, first of all, let me check shot marker and see if it recorded the same thing. No, it didn't. So it picked up, it says it, it got one 4 minutes ago, and then it didn't record another one. Okay, well, let me pull out my ears, kind of shake this guy around. Like that little bit of noise is just the trigger. Reticle break loose. Let me look through there. And let me double check, make sure I don't have holes in the paper. No, unless they're in the orange. I wouldn't be able to spot them if they're in the orange, and our last scope adjustment was hoping to get us into the orange. The reticle looks fine. Tell you what, I need to be able to see through the stupid bore, and to do so, I'm going to need to drop the frickin' cheek riser here. So I lined up the bore with the top left corner of my target stand, my target frame. Looking through the scope, it's right there. What in the heck? I don't know what else to do other than shoot another one and see what happens. Tell you what, I'm going to come, let's go up 3 minutes. That way if they're just stacking in the orange or something and I just can't see them, then that'll get it out of there. Yeah, I don't know what else to do other than maybe pull off the suppressor. All right, so I expect it to hit right about in there. All right, this is feeling a little bit dangerous. I got my ears in. Tell you what, I'm fighting this just a little bit. Just trying to make sure I've got plenty of, this does have a sling swivel hanging out here, making sure I got enough room during recoil to let it do its thing. All right, here we go. Okay, there it is on the paper, and I see it on the paper right in that same spot. But we're just like 3 minutes left. Maybe I went the wrong way. Let's see, that way to right. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 1/4. And then down. Let's see, down about 4. Tell you what, 4 1/2, whatever. So let's try that again. Yeah, that probably was a good idea to send another one to confirm the scope, but we'll do that this time. That's more like it. Right at the bottom of the orange is what I'm seeing on paper as well. We might be in business. That is what the hell I'm talking about. Those 4 shots into a 1/2 inch. Oh, okay. I don't know what the hell happened there. I feel like it was probably a dumb scope adjustment. I probably went the wrong way and just somehow got way out there to the left. All right, let's see if we can recreate this again. So let's clear those shots and we'll move over to a different dot. 5 shots. What the hell happened on that one? Yeah, it just kind of got a little bit tied up, and my stupid camera's out of focus, isn't it? It's like halfway up the ramp and kind of bound up a little bit. Good golly. Let's pull that guy out. And yeah, all the way up the side of the bullet and down the brass case has got a big old... We'll set that one aside. We'll shoot that later. Huh, next one went in. All right, let's see what happens. It is completely dead calm today. Kind of fighting a little bit of mirage probably coming off the end of the suppressor or something, but just having to wait for that side picture to look nice and stable before I shoot. God, freaking target dancing all over the place. It just, like, it is so calm right now. Yeah, 0.49 inch group. I will freaking take that. Did I adjust the trigger? What pounds or ounces? Yeah, I went to the minimum. So while I had the gun apart, checking and retorquing everything, I went ahead and set it not quite as light as it will go, a little bit less than that. So it's at, it's 2.5 pounds, maybe something like that. It feels amazing. Like, trigger feels great. Very happy. That's pretty much the only thing we haven't had any problems whatsoever with so far, the trigger. Even the factory setting, it felt great. Like, something like 300 Win Mag, I'm going to have plenty of shoulder into this guy, right? Like, just because of recoil. So, I don't even necessarily want a ridiculously light trigger. Where, some other gun, like let's say my 6 PPC, where I generally shoot it, where, my trigger finger is the only contact being made with the gun whatsoever. Of course, I need an itty bitty tiny light trigger to make that work out. So, that's kind of the range where you're shooting completely free recoil and want the lightest trigger you can get, or maybe one right here where you're going to be a hold of it anyway. So it's not like a little bit of extra trigger pressure is going to be, moving the gun or causing influence in the gun. So it feels good. Yeah, this 2.5 pounds or whatever it's set to now feels great. Feels really good. So next we're going to move on to this Federal Gold Medal match. This is the uses the 190 grain Sierra Match King. The box velocity 2,900 feet per second. Yep, 2,900 feet per second. So it'll be interesting to see if we have the problem with them sticking in the chamber again. I have got 7 of these, so we're going to shoot a 7-shot group. And I think I'm just going to single feed everything because I'm getting a little bit just annoyed by that feeding issue. So we'll just line them up here and single feed them. Okay, chronograph is armed. Hearing protection is in. Let's see what happens. First velocity was exactly 2,900 feet per second. That's what the box said, right? Yep, it sure did. Now, the moment of truth. No problem. How about that? Yeah, that brass looks fine. Well, crap. Those first three were looking really good. The wheels are coming off. Still 0.76 inches. That's not too bad. Ooh, that shot felt great. And the last one back in there. Huh. See what our velocity numbers look like. I only registered 6 of the shots. Chronograph got a little bit goofy there. Average velocity 2912. Standard deviation 10.0. Extreme spread 28. That's good. Our 7-shot group was 1.47 inches. Just for fun, let's remove that one that went way out. Yeah, the other 6 went into 0.76 inches. I consider that totally acceptable. Pretty happy with that. Okay, now that we feel like the gun is shooting pretty good, I want to go back to the 195 grain Hornady match that uses the 195 grain boat tail hollow point. These are the ones where seem to be way high pressure, sticking in the chamber yesterday. And also the gentleman who sent these to me said they were popping primers in his gun. So these are extremely hot. Let's see if they're still sticking. Okay, moment of truth. Bolt comes up, no problem. Ooh. Okay, no problems with that one. Interesting. Let's try another one. Maybe that big old booger that was in the chamber that we cleaned out did have something to do with this. Weird. How about that? How about that? That is shocking. The primers are pretty flat on this brass. Yeah, no sticking whatsoever. The shiny spots I was seeing on the side of the case, we had one right above the belt and then one a little bit higher up, are completely gone. I'm not seeing that at all today. At all. Let's go ahead and make it a 5-shot group. I am absolutely like flabbergasted. I did not expect this at all. The group kind of sucks, but you know, whatever. Who cares? And it's not even close to being tight. Just flips right out of there. Huh. How about that? Crazy. So today's velocity averaged 29.35. Yesterday it was 29.56. Or no, I'm an idiot. Hold on one second. I was accidentally looking at the 5th shot. Let's see what the average was. Yeah, the total average was 29.34. So about 20 feet per second slower today. Standard deviation 19.3. Extreme spread of 54. And that group is not nearly as bad as I thought it was. So total size with all 5 was 1.66 inches. And the best 4 went into 0.66 inches. That's funny that both, this and the gold medal match really just seemed to throw one shot way the hell out there that screwed everything up. But overall, I mean, they're trying to group. Can't be too sad about that. Yeah, what a difference a day makes. Since the Hornady 195 grain match was actually able to extract, we pretty much have to go back to this PPU, which also gave us problems yesterday, and see if this stuff will extract. So let's see what happens here. Okay, 29.81 was that velocity. Moment of truth. Comes right out. Oh, wow. Shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. No problems on that one. Another thing I've noticed here, so this is 165 and we've shot all the way up to 220 grains here since we've zeroed the gun, and they all seem to be shooting in a pretty tight point of impact there, at least here, at 100 yards. That's usually a good sign. Like, it seems like my best shooting barrels shoot just about everything to the same, or more or less the same point of impact at 100 yards. And some of the barrels that give me a little bit more trouble, they're kind of all over the place, and you're constantly re-zeroing for different ammo. I don't know. Yeah, that one dropped out there. Extracted, no problem. I've got 3 more, so we'll go ahead and just shoot them all, make it a 6-shot group. Uh-oh, that one went off in left field. Or I guess that would be right field. Tell you what, just to make sure, I want to make sure my suppressor's not coming loose or anything like that. I have noticed that my cover's kind of slipping forward a little bit and needs readjusted. Nope, suppressor's nice and tight. 2 more shots. Well, they can't all be winners. At least we know they're extracting good. Right now, that gives me a lot of confidence that whatever it is we dug out of that chamber seems to have fixed our issue. And that is fantastic news. A little bit lower velocity again today with this ammo. Average of 2981, 16.7 standard deviation, extreme spread 44. And a 2.44 inch group. Gross. Not a big deal. Kind of expected. Tell you what, let's clear that target quickly so we don't have to look at it anymore. There we go. I think at this point I might just run a couple patches down the bore. Just for the heck of it. Might as well. Okay, so I've put some patches through the bore, so we're pretty clean. Just some hoppies and, nothing crazy. What I want to do next, well, so I took off the suppressor for the cleaning, so I thought, hey, might as well just go ahead and screw on the brake. It's timed a little bit wonky, but you can see it's pretty darn close. So it's a little bit, it's very close. It's not going to be a problem. So I want to go ahead and switch to that, and I think what I want to shoot first is some more of the 195 grain Hornady match. Remember, this is the stuff that was sticking in the chamber yesterday, and just in case adding the suppressor somehow changed something, I want to go back and try it again and see if it goes back to sticking. I don't expect it to, but there's only one way to be 100% certain. Plus, we can compare the group size that we see with what we got with the suppressor, which I've pulled that group back up on the lab radar. You can see it had that one shot up here that went out. So total 1.66 inch group, but that didn't really tell the whole story. If we hide that one, the other 4 went into 0.66 inches. So let's try it here with the brake, and we'll compare our results. I'm also not sure if we're going to have a point of impact difference. So let's zoom out just a touch, and I'll tell you what, let's go to a new spot because I've pretty much torn up that red dot down there on my target. There we go. That's a good start. All right, so I don't know. We'll see if they're sticking. We'll probably not shoot anymore. Not really care about the group too much, but that was pretty good timing. At least it wasn't in the middle of a group like last time. Okay, let's see what happens. Earplugs are in. Okay, so that went, I think I've got 4 inches between my 2 rows of dots, so that went about 4 inches higher than with the suppressor. So now, moment of truth. Yeah. Like there first I thought it was, but yeah, it came out, no problem. And most importantly, the shiny spots we were seeing yesterday that were clearly, caused by the extraction process are not there at all whatsoever. Good. Let's shoot a couple. Okay, good start. Maybe just, like, that wasn't bad. See if I got any shiny spots. There's one tiny little spot down by the belt, but it's certainly not bad. That's kind of blowing my mind. Could a suppressor and the differences in back pressure and whatnot really be affecting extraction? I don't know. That seems crazy talk, you know? Maybe not. Same way. That one was the exact same way. Like, I still could have pulled that with one finger, but it just kind of, you know, it just kind of hitched there for a second on the way out. And this one's the same way. It's just got a couple little shiny streaks right at the belt. Crazy. That one was a little bit better. Or maybe I just had, you know, a little bit better hold of the bolt knob that time. Okay. Interesting. Average velocity was 2936. With the suppressor, it was 2934. So only 2 feet per second difference. Standard deviation here was 10.7. Before it was 19.3. Extreme spread this time was 28. Suppressor, it was 54. So pretty much, you know, better velocity statistics, you know, more consistent velocities, but average was right on the right on the number. So that's good. Doesn't seem to be much velocity difference. And I've never really observed much velocity change between suppressed and unsuppressed. I know a lot of people report that adding a suppressor increases your velocity. I've never really had a situation where I could point to and say, yep, there it is. There's my example of that. Like, it always just seems to be the same. Now, we did get a very dramatic shift in point of impact, you know, upward almost 4 inches, which kind of surprises me a little bit for a barrel this heavy and rigid. Like, yeah, heavier barrels seem not to have quite as much point of impact shit. I don't know. So, all right, total group size was 1.21 inches, which beats the total group size with the suppressor of 1.66. But let's hide number 2. So the best 4 with the brake was 0.78, and the best 4 with the suppressor was 0.66. So I would call that nearly identical performance. Larger sample size, those differences would probably iron themselves out, I would imagine. So good. That's good to see. It'll shoot with the brake. Because I've had other guns where it would shoot excellent with the suppressor, but we could never get it to shoot well with a brake or, you know, with any other type of muzzle device or without a muzzle device. So it's good to see this one still seems to shoot with the brake. So I think what we'll do is I'll give it just a second to cool down, and then we'll shoot a group of my hand loads and compare performance with those. And then I'll probably put the suppressor back on, so my frickin' neighbors don't hate me. Because good grief, this is loud. It's a pretty dramatic difference in recoil between the brake and suppressor. Like, the brake does a much better job at recoil management. No doubt about it. So it seems to be, you know, it comes with a pretty darn effective brake. Okay, the barrel's had a few minutes to cool down. Let me go ahead and save that last group. And we'll move on to these hand loads. I'm going to assume that we're going to hit pretty much the same point of impact. So we'll see how that works out. So I think we'll shoot a 5-shot group with our 220 grain Sierra Match King hand loads. Seems like I found one that isn't quite fitting. This is new brass. I ran it through a full length sizing die just to straighten out necks and stuff like that, but maybe there's that one piece just had a little too much headspace for this guy. But like, that would be bizarre in a Win Mag, because base to shoulder there's always a ton of room, so it would have to be base to belt, which is weird. Unless maybe I jacked up the overall length on one of these. You try that again. Yeah, it went in. Yeah, it just got one little spot where you can tell it hit the rifling. Make sure that was the right one. Yeah, we'll go ahead and shoot it. Crap, where was I? Alright, so we'll shoot a 5-shot group and just see what happens. That one kind of hitched at the top of the bolt travel as well. All right, nothing wrong with that. Our average velocity was 2792. Did I write that down? I don't think I wrote down the numbers I got earlier, but it seems like we picked up some speed from the numbers I had written down from yesterday. 2749 yesterday, 2792 today. But our numbers were pretty gross. Standard deviation 32.2, extreme spread of 82. Yeah, kind of weird, whatever, but it grew pretty darn good, 0.77 inches. It didn't really throw one out. You know, I guess maybe number one. At the beginning, it looked like number one was going to be outside once 2, 3, and 4 started stacking in there. But yeah, so I'm pretty darn happy with that. It's good to see that the gun seems to shoot just fine without the suppressor. So I think I'll go ahead and pull the brake off, put the suppressor back on before my neighbors start coming after me with pitchforks, and we'll move on to something else. We still got several ammos to try, so yeah, let's let the barrel cool down and switch over to the suppressor. Okay, so next up, I want to go to the 180 grain core locked from Remington. This is another one that Jim sent me, and he said it shot really well for him, so let's give it a try. We're back to the suppressor. So I'm starting to think we're probably not going to get through all 8 of these boxes, which is fine. I'm running out of daylight. I got maybe another hour or so. So we'll see how far we can get, but I think at this point, I'm feeling a whole lot better about things. And if we don't make it through everything, I'm not going to be too sad. All right, let's get started. 5-shot group. All right, so we missed that first velocity because I forgot to put the microphone back on my lab radar when I switched back to the suppressor. So let me do that real quick. Okay, let's see if that's any better. All right, nothing wrong with that. Out of some good old-fashioned Remington hunting ammo, 1.02 inches. That would certainly get the job done. That would kill anything that craps in North America right there. Our average velocity was 2935. Standard deviation was 10.3. And extreme spread was 21. Those are good numbers. Group was 1.02 inches. Good deal. Okay, so I think we'll shoot 2 more groups. And the next group I want to shoot is with this Federal non-typical whitetail. It is 180 grain soft point, just kind of your standard hunt and load, kind of similar to that Remington green box stuff we just shot. Let's see if this stuff will do any good. We'll do a 5-shot group. Oh, I should have looked at our observed velocity versus what the box said. Let me go back to the Remington box. They show 2715. No, 2960, and we got 2935. So it looks like our numbers here with the 24-inch barrel are going to match most of the boxes. I think so far they've been pretty darn close. So, all right, see what happens. That one dropped kind of low. That sucks. Crapola. It felt like a really good shot. Okay, so that wasn't quite as good as the Remington, was it? It's like 3 and 5 are right next to one another there. Yep, pretty much the same hole. But 1.42 inches. Not quite what I was hoping. What did the box say for velocity? The box says 2,960 feet per second, and we got 2,944. Very close. 15.2 standard deviation, 37 extreme spread. Good. I can live with that. If it wasn't for that 1.42 inch group, which in the grand scheme of things, you know, for some hunting ammo, probably be just fine. Okay, so let's shoot one more group today, and let's use the Mark 248 Mod 1. This is a military round that uses the 220 grain Sierra Match King. Now this stuff is loaded longer than the maximum SAMI overall length for 300 Winchester Magnum. These are pretty close to the overall length of the cider ammo that I loaded with this same bullet that we shot earlier. So expect these to shoot pretty darn good. Only one way to find out. We'll do a 5-shot group. Now this is pretty hot ammo, so interested to see here. Nope, no problem with ejection or extraction. No weird marks on the brass or anything goofy going on. So I'm a little bit intrigued that these, I expected our point of impact to go back up to pretty much right on the dot. And it's low and to the right still, kind of like our last couple groups. And yeah, the last couple groups that went low and to the right, I thought it was just because, you know, they were lighter bullets or whatever, or it was just, you know, something going on. This is the 220 grain Sierra Match King, which is what we use to sight the gun in. So, is something moving on me? You know, we still seem to be shooting groups. Or is it, I don't know, things still kind of breaking in, settling in? Not sure. All right, that is an excellent way to finish. Man, I feel so much better now. About everything. Like, everything is good now. Average velocity was 2803. Standard deviation of 5.6. Extreme spread of 13. The group was 0.52 inches. Kiss my butt. I'll take that all day. All freaking day. So I think that's where we ended, folks. Like, we certainly had some problems, and just really kind of, I don't know, like for me, the next time I'm having a just completely awful day on the range, or if I'm rushing and doing something that I know is stupid, but I do it anyway, maybe I'll think back to this, you know, yesterday and today, this video, and stop myself. Like, no, man, don't do the stupid thing. Take your time and get it right. Like, you know, that wouldn't have helped us with the, you know, the booger we found in the chamber that seemed to have caused the extraction problems. But, you know, then again, everything else I should have known. Like, I should have already, like, you know, from watching Bolt Action Reloading's videos, I should have known, like, yeah, this Savage, yeah, I might want to tear it apart and retorque everything and Loctite everything, that sort of deal. And, yeah, running the goofy scope way too high and all of that, like, that's just, I have no excuse for it. But it all worked out in the end. Today's range trip could not have gone any better. I'm super excited about my new gun. I feel like it's going to be an awesome test platform going forward on my channel. So I think that's where we finish this one up. Hopefully I answered your any questions you had about this rifle, or if you're looking to get one. Hopefully this was helpful. So see you guys next time.